start this business, not something else? Why did you choose wholesale versus private label? It's a lot of questions, so we will unpack one after another.
I was able to spend, I felt like it was very purpose driven, and it taught me how to build a very specific skill.
How you've been able to find the suppliers, how you've been able to achieve the best contracts there, how you've been able to get the numbers you want to see in your bank account because you've been working with margins a lot. Question that I'm getting the most: why supplier would work with me? I'm brand new seller.
As long as you're professional and you're putting yourself across as a professional business, that is exactly what they're looking for. One time. So you can actually make a little bit better of a margin selling those products together.
People don't. A lot of people are not ready and they're like, oh, I got suspended. Something happened, and they just running away by saying Amazon is bad, nothing is working, and this business is something shitty for not me. Hello everyone, Izabella, Ritz on Amazon Made Simple podcast. Today we're going to talk about stuff that I usually like but don't adore. So I'm not a big fan of the wholesale, but it's a format of sales where you guys can make fuck ton of money as long as you do it right. So we're going to walk through a lot of tricks and tips, but before that, I want to introduce you my great guest, and we will jump into his personality as well. Mike Sieben, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you for having me on. I'm super excited. This is something we've wanted to do for a little while. We've been working together, of course, on the EBB Launchpad project that we're doing. So it's been a pleasure working with you. I'm glad that we got to finally connect and do this.
Flattered. Thank you. Mike, you recently got a baby.
I did. My very first baby. So November 9th, he was born. So we just celebrated his 2-month birthday just a couple days ago. So it's been a roller coaster, but an incredible one, as you very well know.
Yeah, and I remember when we spoke a while back, I told you, Mike, you have to have enough of sleep. So how do you feel about it? Did you get enough of sleep? Was it useful advice or not?
It was incredible advice, actually. And I think you're the only person. I think everyone warned me about the lack of sleep that I would get, but you're the only person that actually told me, like, get your sleep in now because you'll feel so much better as a result afterwards. So less sleep than you'd ideally like, but overall he's a pretty good sleeper. So I feel pretty privileged because of that.
So how did your life change when the baby came into this world?
Yeah, so we have the privilege of my wife being able to stay home. She's taking at least a full year off to take care of him, which has been great. I also, running my own business, have the flexibility of where I'm able to work. So we have a warehouse, which I'm here today because it is very, very cold in Edmonton, Canada. So we gave everyone the day off.
Your hoodie 2 minutes ago, so you're fine.
Yeah.
Negative 40 Celsius doesn't affect you at all. Look at you. You feel fresh and energized.
Yep. Still got out of bed. Still made it in today. So, overall, I'm super blessed, lucky that I've been able to build what I have with my team, that I can work multiple days a week at home, support her, where needed, take the baby for 5 or 10 minutes when she needs to go shower, use the washroom or something like that, and have some time for herself. So, other than that, we both work quite a bit, and I work quite a bit in the business. So it's really been lots of friends and family, lots of working, and lots of spending time with little Reed. And I would honestly rather have it no other way.
That's amazing. That sounds awesome. So let's imagine that you're planning another baby. So how would you feel if you have two right now at the same time, like Zap twins? Their mother know how was it? And now you have business. And I'm leading this question towards something that you built in the past. So it's not just like, I am just curious what is going on. So imagine you have two babies. How would you run your business?
Yeah, well, I hear everyone that has multiple children says that it's really the hardest transition to go from one to two rather than, zero to one, because you have two parents. Now you don't have two against one, you have, one for each. And then, with three kids, it's even more because now you're outnumbered, right? And so, with my wife and I, at the end of the day, stepping in to help would be a possibility because of the business that I've been able to create. But equally at the same time, we have our boundaries set up, we have our systems in place and things like that. So we've been really good about scheduling our time, being clear with expectations. So if ever she's in a position where she's overly stressed, tired, needs that extra assistance, we kind of plan for that and we work that into the schedule. And, maybe I'll take a couple of hours and be able to relieve her. So I really like to run my personal life very similar to how I run business. And we have our systems in place. We know who's responsible for what at home. And ultimately, we make sure that we're planning accordingly.
I love it. Respect to each other, everything is planned, you have your timelines, you have your management, everything is in place, everything is being done. And of course, you have sometimes fluctuations back and forth, and you're capable to deal with all this because this is what you've been doing in a business. So tell me, a lot of people, they're very scared to have babies, they're scared to get married and start their life before they will stabilize or grow their business. And how would you comment on this statement?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone always says, and I would probably agree with it, is you're never really ready for children, right? And I mean, similarly, I don't think we're ever ready for a lot of the challenges that we end up seeing in business either, right? Things are gonna come at you in a way that you didn't expect. Things are going to happen, things are going to come up. So you create systems, you plan for it, whether you're having a child, building a business, no matter what you're doing. And at the end of the day, when it doesn't work out, when it doesn't go the way you planned, you deal with it, right? You find a way to persevere, you find a way to navigate that, and you stay positive through it all and really take it as it comes.
That's great. So tell me, how does your business look like? What is your business about? What do you do? When did you start? Why did you start this business, not something else? Why did you choose wholesale versus private label? It's a lot of questions, so we will unpack one after another.
Yeah, so I mean, let's do it this way. I'll talk about my journey, where I came from, a little bit what my background was, and how I got kind of where I am sitting in this seat today. So I started my journey out of high school. I actually went into the trades, so
Hold on.
kind of a
Let's just, I'll cut you here. How old are you right now?
30. I'm 30
Or
right
you're
now.
30, we're going back in 13 years.
Yep.
Okay, 13 years back, you're 17. What
Yep.
happened?
So I'm 17 years old, graduated high school, and like a lot of people around me from, the city I'm from, I went into the trade. So I got a blue collar job, worked on an apprenticeship. I was actually a machinist, which basically means to make cool stuff out of metal with big machines. So I actually spent 5 years in that trade. I got fully certified. I was making decent money with it. I liked it, but at the end of the day, I honestly looked around on who I was associating myself with, who I worked with on a daily basis. And I wasn't overly pleased with it, right? I wasn't satisfied with the fact that I was doing the same things as a 21, 22-year-old child at that point as, my 50, 60-year-old counterparts. So I quite literally, figuratively saw into the future of what my life might be like. And it scared the heck out of me, right? So I did what any logical person would do, trained by today's society. I went back to school. So I went back to
What
school.
school?
I went to university. I became an engineer. And so
Okay.
that's my next go was becoming an engineer. So I'm mechanical engineering by trade as well, and went to school, got certified. I worked throughout my degree as I was getting that, and then I went and worked in the field for another 4 or 5 years by the time I had quit my full-time job. So in the meantime, again, I got out into the field, started working in the office, and I have a habit of doing this thing where I look around and I assess the people around me. I assess who I'm surrounding myself with. And to me, it's always been very clear, the law of association, right? You are a summation of the people that you spend your time and energy with. And so again, I looked around, and what did I see? I saw, a glass ceiling. I saw a limit on the amount of money that I could make. I saw myself having to be accountable to show up at a certain place, a certain time, and do certain things that were in benefit of other people. And so I really enjoyed this job. This was one that I absolutely loved. I love being an engineer. I
What was
love
so you've been engineering stuff for somebody. You've been part of something big.
Correct. Yeah. So I was in building engineering. So I did all the mechanical systems in buildings. So we were part of hospital projects, school projects. We're building, condo buildings for people to live in. So, for me, it was actually very purpose driven. Like I felt incredible being able to go and assess, a patch of dirt at the end of the day, and then a year from now there's a building that's a hospital that's saving lives, or a school that's educating children. So I absolutely
That
loved
you
that job.
projected, that you engineered, that you've been doing CADs.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, using CAD, creating the drawings, doing a lot of the design work. And so in just a few short years, I went from drafting and design to engineering to running some of my own projects. And by the end of it, I was doing business development for the firm that I was at. So I was actually bidding on government contracts, bringing in projects, and managing a team that would actually go and do that. So it was very fulfilling, but at the same time, I knew that there had to be something else. There had to be a way for me to be in control of the amount of money I made, where I spent my time, how I spent my time and energy. And so that's when I fell across Amazon, and I learned about it just through social media. People that I followed, and like lots of people, at being at such a young age, I was drawn in by the Lamborghinis and the watches and all of those things. So that's where I got my start. I purchased a course from somebody
I
who
thought
was
you purchased
flashing all of those
Lamborghini
things.
first.
No, I did not purchase the Lamborghini first. I still do not have a Lamborghini. And I honestly, probably, no matter how much money I end up making, I'm not an exotic car, an absorbent amount of money on vehicle type of person. I have much other things that I would rather spend my money on. But I was drawn in that way. And I took my very first course, and it was a course for the very first time that I felt was very practical, right? And
Who did
and for
you
the
learn
amounts
from?
of money that I was able to spend, I felt like it was very purpose driven, and it taught me how to build a very specific skill as opposed to formal education in the past. And so that's when I fell in love with it. That's when I became obsessed with it.
Who did
And
you
so
purchase course from? Who did you learn from?
yeah, so I mean, over the years, I've purchased hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of programs and courses, and I'm obsessed with education and learning. The very first person was a guy on Instagram. Jeff Bunting is his name. So he did drop shipping, and I think he still does drop shipping to this day. So it was a pre-recorded program. Jumped on. I think the very first one I ever purchased was about $500 from him, and I learned how to drop ship from eBay onto Amazon. That was my very first start. That was
Great skill.
2019. That was
Amazon
something.
US compliant too.
Yeah, probably not TOS compliant. Something that wasn't a sustainable business by any means, but it got me my roots, and it got me into a position where I learned what Amazon was. And that's when I got addicted to Amazon. I saw the power of what this engine that we call Amazon could do. And so for about 2 years,
And this is 5 years ago. Am I counting correctly? Or four?
that would put us at coming
Five.
up on 5 years, four and a
5
half
years.
years.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I did that for a couple of months. And then I realized, hey, this is not a sustainable business model. This is probably not something that I should really even be doing and building a business around. But what it taught me was selling brand name items. That's what I learned. So I was selling large brand name items, and then I came across another program which I invested in, and it was a guy who was doing much bigger numbers, really had his stuff figured out, and had what I would call kind of like a proper program, a proper course with great support. So I partnered up with my now partner. He was just a good friend of mine that from high school, and he's actually still my partner to this day. We run this wholesale business together, and we decided to go all in. We invested in this program. We each put in an equal sum of money into the business, learned from this program, and have been building it ever since.
So first of all, it sounds great. It's absolutely amazing, especially when it worked out for you for more than 4 years, almost 5 years in a row. And I'm pretty confident you had different issues with Amazon accounts, with complaints, with hijackers, with competitors, with invoices, and etc. So to go through all these challenges and stabilize and figure it out how like the path that is going to work for you the best is very stressful, and I'm sure you met a lot of obstacles that you overcame and you are at right now where you are, so which is honorable, and I'm sure you have your pride about it. So when you had to pick the suppliers, because that's the biggest challenge for a lot of Amazon sellers, and I know there are plenty of gurus, and I call them Lambo gurus, that are telling you, listen, you can resell these brands, and then at the end of the day, nobody can find the suppliers that would work with them. So how you've been able to find the suppliers, how you've been able to achieve the best contracts there, how you've been able to get the numbers you want to see in your bank account because you've been working with margins a lot.
Yep.
And wholesale is not about 25-35% margin unless you do it right. So are you open to share that?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me first explain about what our business does, what areas we're involved in, because there's a couple, they're all within the wholesale niche, but a couple different ways that we do it. So we do kind of what we would call traditional wholesale, and that's the majority of what we do. And so we go out, we find suppliers that are selling brand name items. Usually we're working with distributors, meaning large companies that purchase directly from the brands themselves. So we might work with a company that sells, Tide laundry soap, right? And they work directly with the Tide brand. They bring in mass, they sell to other retail stores, and they sell to us, right? We then find listings that would match up, see if we can make profits. We purchase and send into Amazon, right? So that's the majority of our business. Then we also work with brands as well. So we work directly with brands, either exclusively, where we're the only seller on the listing, or non-exclusively, where we're among a small group of sellers that purchase directly from the brand and sell their products on Amazon. So two kind of different areas there. And we take different approaches when it comes to finding those suppliers, doing analysis on the products we're going to sell and things like that, right? When it comes to traditional wholesale, it's really easy. There's multiple ways to do it. I would say my two most favorite ways that I think anybody can achieve. One is we call the online search method. So it's literally just looking around your house, your garage, your whatever it might be, and think about all the brands that you love, know, like, trust, hate, whatever it is. And then use Google, and you go and you just literally look up, Tide, for an example, distributors in the US, Barbie distributors in the US, Mattel distributors in the US, and you see what's out there. And you'd be amazed by how many quality suppliers you can find doing that. Now, that can be very time consuming, but it's also very, very easy to achieve. My second favorite way, and you do a ton of traveling and you do tons of different business engagements, different business events, trade shows, conferences. So my favorite way personally is trade shows, right? So we're both familiar with ASD, for an example. I'm going to be back out at
That's
ASD
you're
in March.
opening this question before I even asked. Go
Oh, I
ahead.
already knew. I already knew. So, in exactly 2 months from time of recording, we'll be out at ASD. And we've met fantastic suppliers at ASD and other similar trade shows that we constantly go out, create relationships, continue to build those relationships with.
For those of you guys who don't know, ASD is free. So you just have to pay your travel expenses, and Vegas is pretty cheap. Like you can find a 5-star hotel for like, I don't know, $50 a night or $60 a night, or so anyway, it is affordable. It's plenty of opportunities to find accommodation and be next to. They're doing this in convention center, and there is a lot of learning experience there as well. I probably will be speaking there again. So yeah, ASD is a great place. It's thousands. I believe this time they had, I don't want to lie, I think 18,000 vendors, something like that. That was a crazy number.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure of the statistics. Last I heard, it was over 30,000 attendees.
Yes.
For sure. And, definitely thousands of different vendors there. And so, I mean, there's opportunities there, whether you're doing private label and they have their source direct area where you can go meet Chinese, Korean, you
Yeah.
name it, suppliers that you can put your own brand name on. But there's a whole other side of the show as well, which is all of these wholesale suppliers, right? And you can go and you can just resell a lot of these brand name items. And so that's what we've done over the past 4 years, the kind of the combination between the two, and built ourselves up to where we're at right now.
So, question to you: when it comes to ASD is one of the many, right? There are plenty of very niche events. ASD usually overlapping with pet something I forgot. Trade shows happening at the same time in Vegas, usually during their summer trade show. So, pet industry, health industry, toys
Yeah.
industry, so you name it, right? So there are plenty of other trade shows where brands are showing off, searching for retailers.
Yeah.
You
Hey,
do.
so if anyone watching this is interested, I'll give some free game on some of the really good shows that are out there. So I think the one that you're talking about in Vegas, usually in the summer, is Super Zoo. That'll be
Yes,
a
Super Zoo. You're
big
right.
big pet show. Expo East and Expo West, California, and out in PA a little bit later in the year. Those are great ones. That's like healthy foods, vitamins and supplements, that type of thing. We do tons of that on our own store. There is a plethora of other ones available. ASD does twice a year. That's a big one. Out in Canada, we go to tons of shows in Canada, and actually we're pretty well focused in Canada this year. We'll be going to about 6 or 7 trade shows here. So many different opportunities. And I think the more that you get out there, the more trade shows you're able to attend. I think, as far as I know, all of them are free or very, very inexpensive.
Yeah.
Usually they set it up that way so that they can get the most amount of attendees and the most amount of business being done. But if you look at Expo West as an example, it's one of the biggest trade shows in the world. They
Yeah,
have
never been
they
there.
they have over 20,000 vendors, I think, something insane like that. So literally every single year, there's hundreds of new brands that go to a trade show like Expo West, and you can get them all in one place.
So here's question that I'm getting the most: why supplier would work with me? I'm brand new seller.
Yeah, I mean,
You
that's a
know the
great
answer.
question. Yeah, that's a great question. And so, this is one that I was being asked all the time. So a couple of years ago, I actually teamed up with another company called Marketplace Superheroes. They're a fantastic team out of Ireland, believe it or not. This internet world is crazy, the type of people that you meet. So I teamed up with them. So I'm the program lead for Wholesale over at Marketplace Superheroes. And we've actually helped over 2,000 students start to sell wholesale on Amazon. We have over 2,000 active students in our group doing just this. And so one of the biggest things, I say all that to say that I've actually helped, many hundreds of people actually get up and running and actively selling. And the biggest thing that we teach is professionalism, right? And the answer to that is, why would they want to work with you if you're brand new, if you're fresh, you're a one-man show? It's because you put yourself forward in a very professional way. We recommend setting up proper businesses behind you, right? Not operating as a sole proprietor, setting up an LLC, a corporation, getting a proper looking email, purchasing a domain. And so at the end of the day, you are a properly registered business. And all of these suppliers, their entire goal is to sell products to other businesses. So when you come and you say, hey, look, here's my business name, here's my business information, this is exactly what I'm looking to do. I see that you're selling brand A, B, C, and D. I'm very interested in those brands. I'd love to open up an account and I'd love to be able to resell those brands. That's exactly what they're there for. That's exactly what they do. And so, the answer to the question is, as long as you're professional and you're putting yourself across as a professional business, that is exactly what they're looking for.
100% agree. On top, would you recommend people to build their Shopify, Wix, whatever small website with inventory that they possibly will sell, also to show off their professionalism as an established business out there?
Yeah, so we've played around with this because this is something that's talked about in the wholesale space all the time, right? Set up an online website, set up an online store that has inventory, whether you're selling it or not, and more suppliers will tend to want to work with you. And at the end of the day, these suppliers are generally, deca millions of dollars per year. Some of them are multinational billion-dollar companies. The people that you deal with, frankly, at the end of the day, aren't dumb, right? They understand what you're doing. They understand where you're going with things. If they go to your Shopify website and you have a handful of products for sale and you're coming across as a business, they know that you're probably not selling those products anywhere. So we tried that. We did set it up. At the end of the day, it always came out. We like to be really upfront and honest with a lot of our suppliers. We've tried the deceptive tactics of saying, hey, we're going to sell these products here. And then we start purchasing products and they say, there's no way you're selling 300 units per month of this product on your Shopify store, right? And we're like, yeah, well, we also sell on Amazon. It's like, great, just tell us that. That's fantastic. Here's some other opportunities that other Amazon sellers are doing, and we'd love to help you out with it. So our opinion, we actually completely removed our website and we just have the conversation with new suppliers we open up with. Look, we do retail on Amazon, but we're not like most other Amazon sellers, right? We're professional. We know what we're doing. We have systems in place. We're ready to spend money. And so we're looking to open up an account and start a relationship off on the right foot.
When you do that, sometimes suppliers have the rules to help, pretty much to help out the sellers to be in a great rotation when they're selling on Amazon. Sometimes they're not. So would you give any tips and advice to the probable peace of mind for people that are out there searching for the suppliers? Because on the back end, what is happening, you're purchasing the inventory, you're going on a listing, probably you got a great invoice, and then the price war starts.
Yeah.
And then people are like, twist my arm.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I supposed to. So how to avoid this type of the mistakes?
Yeah. So,
Situation. Not even a mistake, it's a situation.
Exactly. Yeah. No, the situation you find yourself in. I think it all starts from the beginning, from the choices that you make right up to when you're ordering those items. So I've always been a massive proponent, like whether you're going to come and learn the information from me, Marketplace Superheroes, you're going to go to one of the other great creators that are out there that know what they're doing and are actually doing this every day. I think it all starts with the education. And so, inside of that education, we're showing our students, and what I always talk about is proper product research, right? There's almost always indicators when there's going to be price wars. There's indicators when the brands are going to come in
Okay, I'll
and
cut
try
you
to
off
shut
here.
you down.
What software do you use for that?
Keepa. Keepa is probably the number one software that you could have as an Amazon seller, but for sure a wholesale seller. We use Keepa all the time. It gives you all of the history, data, and information about what's been happening with the buy box, the best sellers rank, all the different offers on a listing. You can go deep on it and you can see percentages for buy box share allocations, number of sales through Keepa is available. The list goes on with what you can do there. But for a 15 euro or $15 a month subscription, you can see all of this information.
Did you ever compare the insights from Keepa to Smart Scout?
So I actually know Scott very, very well. And one of their biggest inputs into Smart Scout is Keepa. They pull Keepa data and they incorporate that. So they stack on tons of other data as well.
Yeah.
And they use tons of other data. That might change in the future. You might be watching this video in the future and that fact may not be true. But I also love Smart Scout, by the way. I'm a massive fan, and we do use Smart Scout in our business, but we don't use them for the same data and information as we would Keepa specifically.
So when you start the product research for wholesale, what do you start?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, we actually do things backwards than most other business models. We do things completely opposite, as if you were a private label seller. So we start with suppliers first, right? We don't care about the products that we're going to sell down the line. We don't get obsessed with a certain product. We're not building a brand around any of these products. So we go out and we find the suppliers. So we do online search method. We go to trade shows. We find suppliers that have these awesome brand name items available for us. We allow them to then tell us, hey, here's a list of all of the different items we have. Go through our website. Here's a nice little Excel spreadsheet you can use, whichever way that we can go with that.
Too.
Whichever way we go with that. And Smart Scout, we actually are building our own in-house software right now that can do the UPC Excel scanner as well, that all of our students use. There's many different solutions out there. And so we get the supplier, they tell us what products they have, and then we're using software tools to then go in and analyze against Amazon listings which products are going to be profitable, which products sell well, and then we go deep to see which products that we can sell well, we can be successful with the amount of competition that's on the platform, the price points, etc.
Great. So to summarize everything, suppliers first, then we guys are ideally you're taking the Excel sheet and you're scanning through, I wanted to say Helium 10, you're scanning through Smart Scout or Keepa. There are plenty of other software there as well, or you're just going to Mike, he helps you with his software as well. You're finding the best match in between UPC of the supplier and UPC that is already out there on Amazon. You're checking the potential margin, and then the next things are happening. Let's say we found 3 products we want to sell. And what's next?
Yeah, so next thing would be putting an order together. We use just a basic purchase order system. So that's like our intent to purchase the products, put them on a list. We send them to our supplier. We say, hey, look, Mr. Supplier, we're looking to buy these 3 products in this quantity based on our research at this price point, or we have a conversation about what price point we need at. That's a big key to wholesale, is everything's negotiable. It's like going to your local market in Mexico. Everything's up for negotiation. I love that part of the business. Submit those orders, and then what you're going to do is ship that product to a 3PL, to your house, wherever you're going to get these products taken care of. You prep and ship them, or prep and label them rather, as per Amazon's requirements, and then we're going to send them into the FBA warehouses to be sold through.
So here's 2 things to unpack. First, why you're not asking supplier to put the labels.
Yep.
And the second question, where is here the line in between we're shipping to FBA or we're using 3PL, home, body house, whatever?
Yeah.
Human
So
by
at the end of, yeah, I have a simple solution to both of those. And the reason why we recommend putting a prep center, bringing the products in yourself in the middle of that comes down to human error at the end of the day, right? So anything that happens between when you purchase that item and it getting to Amazon, you're responsible for. So if your supplier mislabels your items, mispreps your items, ships the wrong items, missing quantities, this type of stuff does happen. Humans are human. That prep center, that extra level of that extra layer allows another opportunity for these types of things to be checked.
yeah,
Right. And in addition, a massive part of what we do on wholesale is things like bundles and multi-packs. And so a lot of the suppliers won't offer a service like that. Amazon doesn't offer a service like that, where you take two complementary items. We do this all the time. We have hundreds of them downstairs, shampoos and conditioners, body wash and shampoo, right? You name it, two complementary products. You put them together as a bundle. You sell that on Amazon, right? Much
Are you
less
not
competition.
overpaying for? So two questions now here. Are you not overpaying for shipment because it's a double shipment? And the second question, when you're bundling the units, aren't you the one now who's creating the ASIN and now you're the owner of the unit, I would say? ASIN, unit, UPC, yeah, you know, like all of them.
Yeah. So uh, you would basically have everything shipped in bulk. So say, look, we're looking to buy these 6 items. We may buy a shampoo, a conditioner, a body wash, a face scrub, whatever it might be, right? All these different items. And we've pre-selected the ASINs on Amazon, right? So there's quite literally probably hundreds of thousands of listings that other people have created that have shampoos and conditioners together, that have 2 packs, 3 packs, 6 packs all together, right? And so when we're doing kind of that traditional wholesale side of things, we're finding a lot of those. And this is the great thing about using, Hero Launchpad, which is our own software we're working on, Smart Scout, Scan Unlimited. There's lots out there, right? I think ours is the best, but that's irrelevant. They'll find these opportunities. They'll find the 3 packs. They'll find the 6 packs. They'll find the 12 packs. And so we're doing our research based off of that, right? Oftentimes it's more profitable because think about it this way. If a shampoo and conditioner that are each worth $10, say, arrive to Amazon and you're selling them for $20, $19, give your customer a bit of a deal, that fulfillment fee is going to be less. You're only paying that fulfillment fee, one time. So you can
Yeah.
actually make a little bit better of a margin selling those products together. And so what we do is we order all of the products into a prep center, to our warehouse, to, if you're just getting started, your basement, your garage, you put those items together, you send them into Amazon to that ASIN in that way. And now you've created a new opportunity that you probably wouldn't be able to do if you're getting your suppliers to do that prep, or you were sending it into Amazon and requesting that Amazon do that prep for you.
This one definitely makes sense. So one more question about this bundling stuff. I've seen, and Vanessa recently posted about it, and I have my opinion, my personal opinion that I would want to discuss with you too, but I want you to answer first. So some sellers are creating ASINs and they call it generic.
Yeah.
So, for example, for those of you who doesn't know, I am selling iPhone, and I decided to create my own listing by selling iPhone, whatever, 11 or 10. And now it's my listing, but the brand name will be generic, and in a title it will be iPhone 10 or iPhone 11 or iPhone 15 Pro. Uh, and people will be able to find me, of course, because they'll be ranked, because of the brand, because of the demand. We're not going to dig deeper into that, but it will be generic. So what is your opinion on creating those type of ASINs and sell under them, being an owner of this listing?
Yeah. So actually earlier in 2023, Amazon started to crack down on generic listings. So at this point in time, to my knowledge, it may not be across the entire catalog, but the vast majority of catalogs, you cannot add an offer to a generic listing unless you have previously sold that item. So say, for example, you sold on a listing 2 years ago under that generic listing, you refind an opportunity, you can sell that product again, it's profitable. You may be allowed to send that product in and sell under that generic listing. If your account's never been associated, to my knowledge, you can no longer do that. Additionally, they are also starting to crack down on the ability to make generic listings as well. And so we're going to see much less generic listings being a thing, being available. We actually had an opportunity just this morning. We came across some items that we sell, a brand that we sell through a distributor. There is a generic listing is available online, a shampoo and conditioner, and we're not able to add our offer to that listing because it is generic, because Amazon is no longer allowing you to do that.
How many times a year are you receiving any emails from Amazon about being suspended, suppressed, require additional information, infringement, and all other stuff?
Yeah, so it depends on the email. Some sort of email from Amazon every single day. Sometimes it's additional documentation requests. Sometimes it's additional photos. Sometimes it is just giving them some additional information, submitting an invoice pretty regularly. When it comes to having listings shut down, I would say, maybe monthly, we have a listing shut down, maybe once every couple of weeks. Usually, vast majority of the time, we're able to get those listings up just because of the way we source our items. We source from legitimate wholesale suppliers domestically. And so we prove out our supply chain. We supply them with, some lightly redacted invoices the way that they like. They're happy with it majority of the time, right? I'll be transparent and say we haven't won every single appeal with Amazon.
Yeah,
There
and that
have
would
been
be not
times.
true, of course.
I would be lying because nobody does, right? So
Yeah.
there's definitely been times where we've had listings shut down. We've had to pull the inventory out, find other ways to sell it, liquidate it, write it off, whatever the case may be. Suspensions, we have been suspended once back in 2020. We got suspended. At the end of the day, it was not something that we did wrong. We had some customer complaints about a certain item. They had changed a formula of an item, and we got suspended for a period of time. We actually used a professional consultant to come in, help us with it. One that you're very familiar with, Riverbend. They were
Did they help?
incredible. Pardon?
Did they help?
Oh, they helped immensely. So Riverbend stepped in. We got a rep on our case. We went through it. It was a lengthy process. It was very painful. I'm not gonna lie. It was not something pleasant, and I would wish on anyone else. But we were successful. We were back up, and I wouldn't say that we've had a legitimate suspension scare since that happened. It's almost like if you go through something like that, you're stronger on the other side, and Amazon gives you a little bit more leeway, and they'll give you a little bit more benefit of the doubt, I do feel like. And so, I mean, there's always that risk, right? But I would argue there's always that risk in business, right? COVID can happen.
Yeah, it's always
You're
cost of the business. Like whatever, like every single opportunity has the cost. Every single one of them. It just depends if you're ready for this pay or if you're not, if you're stressful enough or you're not. Like a lot of people, why I mentioned in the beginning that you challenged a lot of obstacles and you overcame them because a lot of people don't. And you are who you are right now because you've been able to build at some point empire that you can have a baby, you can have your family, and everything is covered because you built something. You've been able to face the challenges. A lot of people don't. A lot of people are not ready, and they're like, "Oh, I got suspended. Something happened," and they just running away by saying Amazon is bad, nothing is working, and this business is something shitty for not me.
Yeah.
So, and it happens all the time. So it's just the pretty much the your mentality, your strength, your entrepreneurship, like where your mindset.
Yeah.
So
I would
yeah.
I want to talk about that a little bit, and I want to come back to your bundling thing. I'll give a big value bomb, I suppose, on something we're doing that's working well for us, and I'll kind of explain a little bit more about that. But I also think that in order for a business to work, in order for you to be a successful entrepreneur and be ready to have that level of success that you want, you have to become that person, right? You have to become the person that can be that CEO, that can be, the director, whatever you want to call yourself of the business, and is ready for the challenges that come with it, right? Because one thing you don't see from the people who flash the Lamborghinis, that make the courses, the watches, the very successful people on Instagram, is the daily struggle, is the things that they had to go through to get where they are. So unless you grew up with a nice trust fund that you could pull from, most likely, if you're self-made, you're going to have to deal with trials and tribulations. You're going to have to go through the trenches. You're going to have to become the person that's worthy of having the things in order to get there, right? And that's always why whenever you hear about, if all of the world's money got taken away and equally distributed in X period of time, it would end up exactly where it is again. I fully believe that that's completely true, because people that are good at running businesses, people that are good at generating money, that people that are good at being people that are worthy of having these things, can do it again if they need to. And oftentimes there's many people that do have to lose everything and do have to build it back up. And so for anybody watching that's not where they want to be in life, that's not where they want to be in business, or wants to get started with a business, I highly recommend working on yourself and becoming a person that's worthy of doing these things. And like I mentioned, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on courses, programs, and mentorships alone, not including the travel that I also do to the different trade shows and events and things like that. So I'm a firm believer, and I can say right now, although I've only been doing this, for less than 5 years, I'm by no means the same person that I was 4 years ago. Unrecognizable to the person I was. And so that piece of advice would be, go invest in yourself. And the best way to do that is find somebody that's doing what you want to do successfully and pay them to help you, right? Whether that's a free lead magnet that they might give you, a free book, a course, spending $20 on their book, $100 course, $1,000 course, a $10,000 mentorship, whatever you can make work, whatever you can afford, whatever level of access that you can get, it's the best investment that you will ever make, is investment in yourself.
Preach. I completely agree with you, because you're gonna pay this money no matter what. As long as you want to do business, you're gonna pay this money no matter what. You're gonna pay this money because of your experience, and you fail, you will fail. You will fail no matter what. Even you will succeed after. You will fail no matter what. And I want to put out there that by starting business, doing business, you have to be ready to fail. Everything that you're investing, imagine this money are gone. This is where you're supposed to be. You're not waiting for any type of the cashback. This money are gone. And if you're ready for that, do any type of business. You will be great at the entrepreneurship, because you'll be in a position to figure shit out. And that's the best part. That's the best part. The best part when you broke and you have to figure that out, because this is where you're growing. Like every single muscles are growing when they are stretching, when they are in pain. This is where the growth is happening. So I completely agree with everything you said. You're amazing, Mike. And you wanted to say the last part about bundling, and we have to wrap it up because we're almost at 1 hour of this podcast.
Yeah, I know. That's incredible. I feel like I could just go on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see
So,
you're so energized. See, this is guys what cold do to people. When you're on negative 30, 40, your body just like going
yeah.
energized, because you have to be warm. You have to stay warm. And unless you put a lot of energy into your space and mental health, you will just freeze and die. So
Yeah, that is what Canadians know very, very well. Absolutely.
yeah.
So yeah, what I wanted to share about bundling is there is also opportunity in bundles. So obviously there's the way to create generic bundles. You can create bundles as well under brands. That's a massive opportunity. Whenever you're working directly with brands or you're purchasing from brands, there's incredible opportunities to do bundling, right? There's been people that I've helped coach. We haven't done this personally, but have been very successful reaching out to brands, getting a rejection to sell their product lines, but instead creating bundle opportunities that wouldn't have been there otherwise, and selling those under the brand as an exclusive seller. So there's big opportunities there. And then the other one is creating your own brand and bundling products. Now, as a part of Amazon's TOS, as far as I'm aware, when you bundle products, the higher priced item, the more valuable item is supposed to be the brand name. I believe that is their bundling policy. But there are ways out there to be able to create your own brand, trademark your own brand, and actually have products from other brand name items available on your listings to sell. And you
Is
can
it
benefit
something
from a
like
lot of that traffic.
housewarming gift, and then you put this like detergent, dish soap, sponges, and something, and you like just pack it with the ball there, and it's a nice packaging, and it's like a gift, but all brands are inside it, inside of the
there's
box.
many there's many different ways to do it, and so I'll just revert to some examples that I've seen on Amazon. Some successful examples have been the gift boxes. For sure, you're putting together a ton of different items to be given as a gift. There's also some really successful sellers that are doing things like bulk candy. They have their own brand and they put, rockets and insert name of candy. I'm blanking on that. And they just sell bulk candy under their own kind of boxed branding. There's other ones, if we think about kind of bigger examples off of Amazon, but we think about like FabFitFun, if we've ever heard of that. Think about BarkBox. They're subscription boxes, but their
Subscription
entire
box.
brand is built around putting other people's items in their boxes and making that available. Another opportunity too is taking brand name items, adding your own item to that, a private labeled item, and selling that in bundles. So there's many sellers out there that are doing, for example, like coffee creamers, and they brand some little stir sticks with their own brand name on it. They put that together and they sell that on their listing as well. And so
Yeah,
I
we
think
did
there's
this.
opportunities everywhere. There's risk no matter what you do. There's
Yeah.
ways to do things within Amazon TOS and without of Amazon TOS. So you do have to make sure that you're compliant and willing to take risks if you're not at the end of the day. But there are opportunities there, and I think there's massive opportunities there.
We did similar thing to the whiskey product. One of the whiskey product we've been adding smoking branded chips to the set,
Yeah,
and that helped this product a lot. I'm not sure if they're still in business or not, but when we be launching one of these products, the sales been like really phenomenal, because
yeah.
we've been ranked based on the brand, because the brand name was a brand product was included. That's a absolutely amazing chips. Absolutely amazing tip. And another one, I would add snack boxes. Also, I don't know if Amazon changed something with the TOS. We have to double check, guys. It doesn't mean everything we said you have to take as the pure truth, because Amazon is very Amazon is changing every single day. So sometimes, like
Yes.
everything, something we said yesterday is already different today. So everything, like you cannot just go and implement it. You have to double check if it's still TOS compliant. However, snack boxes are selling amazingly. And if you are getting creative, like selling snack package for kids that they can get to school, to the field trip, take a snack box to work, to your coworker, and etc. So it's a huge niche, and there is plenty of opportunity out there for those of you that want to do private label but still don't want to create your own products. So you're in the middle of the wholesaling and Amazon private label. And I believe the suppliers, the distributors will not be really against it. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you will not go under anybody's listing and they will be happily selling you as many as you want.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fantastic way to go around it, to think about it, to approach the situation is, hey, look, there may be opportunities where you don't want us selling, the brands aren't okay with that, but what if we're creating our own traffic? What if we're selling on our own listings? What if we're buying these products to be included in something else? That's a massive tip from you there for anybody who's having difficulties getting in with some of the bigger suppliers as well.
Well, Mike, I think we just created the new course that we have to launch next week. So you will have a bundling course for the wholesale / private label, and we will give you guys so many tips that I'm actually not sarcastic. We're probably exactly what we're supposed to do. Anyway, that was great conversation, Mike. You did an amazing job. I'm so sorry, my 1 hour of silence just went off, and that was an amazing conversation. Thank you for being here today. I am very happy that now you're a dad. Hopefully more kids will be on the way, more projects as your private label kids or whatever you can call them will be also on the way. You're great inspiration for a lot of people that are out there. You also proven track record of people that used their education to see the opportunity, but at the end of the day, you're doing something that is not related to your degree at all. So, which means if you are in a position where should I take the student loan or maybe should I invest into the business, you have a clear example what you're actually supposed to do. So your degree will be always there as an opportunity to show people that you've been disciplined for 4 or 5 years and you put yourself into the learning experience. However, like Mike invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into the education that actually made him money, probably will be much better investment than just to go to college and hang out with friends and partying out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, thank you so much for having me on. This was a ton of fun. Hopefully an extreme amount of value. I'm looking forward to doing it again at some point in the future. And thanks for all you do.
Yeah, I will be happy to have you back because I still have a lot of questions that we can unpack. And your personality is incredible, phenomenal, and I'm looking forward for more.